stand in our way, and our golden age has just begun.
This is Human Events with Jack Posobiec.
Now it's time for everyone to understand what America First truly means.
Welcome to the Second American Revolution.
All right, folks, Jack Posobiec, we are back live here, Human Events Daily. You're looking at a live shot of the White House right now, and of course, the Democrats are melting down because Elizabeth Warren and Amy Klobuchar just released possibly the most cringe-inducing video I've ever seen talking about the East Wing, saying, I can't believe they're doing that to the people's house. I can't believe that he's just doing whatever he wants. And guys, like it's really simple. I'll give you a way to be able to work through this logically and emotionally. Winning elections is an option. Like, you could have tried harder to win the election and actually done so and put up, I don't know, a candidate who had some kind of serious connection with the American people and the interests of the American people. And then maybe you would have won the election and maybe you would be able then to decide what happens with the White House. But you didn't do that, did you? No, you lost. And since you lost the election, President Trump is the one who gets to make decisions about the White House. And guess what? The White House is getting a big, beautiful ballroom. And you guys are just going to have to love it. Folks, anyone who knows me knows that the work that Human Events Daily does day in and day out knows that the conservative movement never stops. And the fuel that keeps me and this show and our work and our movement going, I'm talking about right now, it's Blackout Coffee. Got my Blackout mug right here. I've got the Don't Tread on Me mug, by the way, one of my favorites. Got it on the bottom. The kids love these as well, by the way. They keep trying to steal them from me. For years, Blackout Coffee has been my coffee of choice, and I know so many of you want to get in on it as well. Blackout Coffee isn't just coffee. It's America in a cup. Founded on Christian conservative values, rooted in family, and built on the belief that hard-working Americans deserve better than the corporate swill, just the ridiculous corporate swill. Blackout Coffee is a family business that roasts every single batch right here in the US of A. 2 roasts you got to try. Morning Reaper, that's a smooth medium roast that kicks off your day without the bitterness. We don't want the bitterness. And for those dark roast lovers, this is me, Brutal Awakening. That's my favorite. A bold, rich roast with deep flavor that'll keep you sharp and alert. It's perfect for serving friends and family around the holidays. Christmas is coming, and let's face it, the best gatherings we know, they start and end with the best coffee. So here's the deal. Go to blackoutcoffee.com/POSO. Use promo code POSO for 20% off your first order. That's blackoutcoffee.com/POSO. Support a company that supports your values, supports American jobs, and fuels your freedom one strong cup at a time. Well, speaking of fueling freedom, I want to get into some of these cartel wars. The cartel wars have begun, and don't let anyone tell you they haven't. Dan Caldwell, a former official with the Department of Defense, back when it still was the DOD, I don't know how that works. He joins us now. Dan, so do I call you former DOD official, or is it former DOW official?
That is a good question. I think former Department of War.
Is it retroactive?
That's what everybody's calling it. It is retroactive. And as I'm sure your listeners know, that was the name of at least the Department of Army for many years until the post-World War II era. So it is a return to our history.
Yeah, it's absolute return to history. And by the way, another return to history, and I made this point on Piers Morgan, is that the United States Navy has been interdicting small boats in the Caribbean Sea since the United States Navy has existed. This is not a new mission for the United States Navy at all. We've been doing it literally for hundreds of years. Gun runners, slavers, pirates, mercenaries, rum runners during Prohibition, all the rest of it, blockade runners during the Civil War. This is nothing new for the U.S. Navy whatsoever. Yet for some reason, the media is completely losing their minds about it.
They are. And actually, Jack, while we were on the break, I was reminded of this. In the 1990s, the Clinton administration launched something called the Air Bridge Denial Program, where the CIA, working with the Peruvian Air Force, was actually shooting down drug cartel aircraft. And they shot down dozens of these aircraft. The program ended because, unfortunately, they shot down a plane load of American missionaries. And the CIA was found to have lied about what they knew and didn't know, and it would have turned into a bigger scandal how 9/11 not happened. But again, this type of activity, whether you agree with it or not, is not something new in our hemisphere. And I would also argue again, I saw something else that before we went on that some people were complaining that we had more assets, military assets here in our Western hemisphere than we had in the Middle East right now, specifically ships. Well, I'm sorry, what happens in the Western hemisphere is more important to our physical safety and the conditions of our economic prosperity than what happens in the Red Sea or in the Persian Gulf. So, this is again a return to where our founders were, where most American presidents were for most of our history, that what matters in our backyard is more important than, say, who controls the Donbass or what's going on in the Red Sea. So I think, again, whether you agree or disagree with what's going on right now, that's important to remember.
No, these are the specific ideals and policies that President Trump campaigned on. This is what the strategy of hemispheric defense is all about. Now, we did see this news out of the Pentagon this morning regarding the USS Ford. Carrier Strike Group is now going to be moving south beyond the Gulf of America down to the Caribbean, potentially to increase optionality should the president call for these so-called, and we're certainly hearing this over and over, potential land strikes in Venezuela itself. What's really going on here? There's some people who say, look, this is a backdoor regime change project. There are other people who say, this is threats from Maduro. It's a leveraging technique. Walk us through how you view the situation that really is unfolding in the Caribbean right now.
Well, first and foremost, you said it, is what the Department of War is doing is giving the president options. By deploying this carrier battle group to the region, they are significantly increasing the capabilities of Southern Command, which is the overall combatant command responsible for that region and these operations against the drug cartels. This is going to quadruple, I believe more than quadruple, the number of fixed-wing aircraft available to SOUTHCOM. It's going to introduce more supporting ships, so more destroyers, and I believe another cruiser as well too. So you're going to have not just more firepower, but more capability. So, for example, you're going to have more capability to conduct a suppression of enemy air defense mission, which is, degrading enemy air defenses. And we have to remember that Venezuela actually has a modern Russian-built air defense system. You're going to have more intelligence capabilities. You're going to have more surveillance capabilities. So this is a significant increase in the capabilities of SOUTHCOM. Now, what does this ultimately mean? There's a lot of leaks in the media about, who wants what in the administration and what President Trump is supposedly thinking. I just would caution people to be wary of that. But we can't deny is that this gives the president more ability to put military pressure, not just on the cartels, but also on the Maduro regime. Now, to your question about the regime change, I don't know if a decision has been made to go all the way that direction. But regardless of what you think about the cartel mission, we should definitely be wary of that possibility.
Well, and I think that's right. So, I mean, you're talking about the USS Ford, and that's the entire strike group. So they're going to have at least 4 or 5 destroyers that'll head down with it to provide that air defense screen for the destroyer, or for the carrier itself, I should say. Probably, usually there's a couple of subs that are in tow whenever those operations go out. And by the way, so the land strikes, and this is something that's key, by the way, the land strikes wouldn't necessarily be conducted from the Ford itself. We've got plenty of bombers that could do that, but the Ford would actually be there for the, basic, the secondary or even, early preparation of the operational environment should those strikes occur.
Right, and it also brings combat search and rescue capabilities. If God forbid a manned aircraft is shot down, it also has.
But most of the strikes have been done via drone up to this point, right? For the most part, as far as we know.
As far as we know, it has been unmanned aerial systems, drones, probably Reaper drones, but the Department of War hasn't disclosed every system they've used in these strikes. But it would appear that it is mostly unmanned systems they've been using so far.
That's exactly right. And so, and I wouldn't be surprised if some helos were involved as well, but it just makes sense. They have the optionality. They've got, they've got the Reapers down there. And simply put, this is exactly what they were designed to do. People are used, of course, to seeing them in the Middle East going after trucks or going after convoys or ISIS or something like that. And of course, they were fantastic at doing so, and going after a fast boat in the Caribbean really isn't much difference at all.
Correct. And this is something important too to remember about the Reapers, is that they can loiter for an incredibly long time. They can loiter for up to a day, whereas a helo or a fighter jet, they burn a lot of fuel very quickly. And even if they're just flying a short range, they can maybe at most get a few hours where they're over a target area. And with a Reaper, they can stay up for almost a whole day. And so that gives a lot of coverage. And then, of course, it's unmanned, so you're not risking a pilot and crew in those operations.
Well, and there's even we've even seen, speaking of which, of the loiter time, that's exactly what we're starting to see out of Ukraine, Russia, even Iran. They're making loiter munitions, basically, that are able to hang in the sky and wait for a specific target package to come by. They're AI they're AI controlled. Or some cases remote controlled. I mean, the skies are getting very complicated, very, very complicated. Dan Caldwell, we're up on a quick break here. This is fantastic. We'll be right back here. Human Events Daily, Real America's Voice. The cartel wars have begun.